defense.
Welcome, Split the Defense, Leafs post-game presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving Kingston and the surrounding area since 2004. I'm Webby with CP and producer Ted in the booth. Thumbs up this episode, subscribe to our YouTube, leave us a comment, and catch us in podcast form anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you can't catch us live right now, after the game, Game 32, 20th win of the season for the Leafs. Back in first place in the Atlantic. Final score, Leafs 5, Stars 3. Who do you got for a first star tonight, CP?
Nick Robertson.
Nobody saw that coming, folks. Nick Robertson's CP's first star. Okay, tell me why.
Well, he had 2 points. Scored a nice one in the middle. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Ottinger would want that one back. But yeah, scored a goal. And honestly, he played a good game. And not just the scoring part of it and points on the board, but creating turnovers, blocks a shot on the play on the play for his goal. Blocked a shot in his zone. They carry it out. He ends up with the puck and, gets kind of lucky that the puck just sits there for him in the middle so he could take a shot. But, also created a turnover for the Bobby McMahon one where he gets the assist. So yeah, it's like what was it? 4 days ago, I said, don't ever want to see him in my lineup again. And here he is. He's my first star of the game.
Yeah, so back-to-back games for Nick Robertson. Obviously, you think he deserves to keep playing at this point. I mean, it's a good thing they didn't have the same train of thought as you and scratch him tonight, hoping for a goal in the next game, because he got one tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they should not always listen to what I say, but
they should probably rarely listen to what we say.
That's right. Yeah, I come at it as a true fan perspective. So, but yeah, I mean, no, I don't think you should scratch him. Why would you scratch him now? That line. I mean, you could give the first star to the third line, really, because it's just been going now. They had 5 goals in 4 periods. They've been going.
They've been going. So I think another star tonight we got to talk about is Joseph Woll. He had himself a hell of a game. He stopped 40 shots tonight or something like that. They had 39 when I stopped, and I know they got a couple more. The first goal he gave up was, you never want to give up the first goal, but you can't blame him on the first goal. Do you have any gripes about his game tonight, or just all praise?
I mean, my Leafs chat definitely didn't like the second goal. They were being pretty hard on him. I thought it was, a little harsh. And the second one was a weird goal because Riley definitely should have had it 3 times. He misses the poke check multiple times and then his stick's not there shadowing the puck. And it's a weird one. Wall probably went down slightly early. But the guys in the chat were saying that Stolarz is a foot bigger and he probably has that save because even though he's down early, he has the size to cover that more of that upper part of the net. And I don't know, I felt it was a little harsh. He came up with some huge saves tonight. There's a save in there in the third period that's going to be in the highlight reel top 100 at the end of the year. Really good.
What you're talking about.
Yeah. Really good night from Wall. And just how lucky are we, frig, to be basically I don't know if this is just the style of play and we're supposed to be winning in these games where you get outshot, the opposite team gets double your shots all the time and you're coming up with wins, but it just seems like we're getting goalie wins. If this is a lower class of goalies that we've been playing, this isn't a 20-win team. And like I said, I don't know, it's kind of weird to watch because the team has 4 shots halfway into the second period. And then they get in the 5th and 6th and 8th shot, they score. So it's crazy. I don't know. It seems unsustainable to me to keep winning this way. And it's great that you actually get one of these wins against a decent team of Dallas. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like we're really these goalies are really keeping us in. And I mean, there's a lot of talk about Matt Murray now possibly getting some starts. You know, it seems like
Ugh.
Hildeby's getting the next, but
It's like
we're
worst
having
case
Matt Murray
scenario.
talks.
That's got to be worst case scenario. Like Matt Murray's like, break glass in case of emergency. Like he's not the guy. So I think you
I
give
don't
Hildeby
know.
some more run. He let in a couple bad goals the other night, but like he's young, and I think you give him a few more shots. He's got to have a few more games like he did the last one, and maybe lose a couple before I really don't want to see Hildeby anymore. And also, I'd probably like to see Akitamov before I'd like to see Matt Murray.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like I don't want to see Hildeby have too many poor starts. You know, it's not that I give up on him being a goalie for this team in the future, but you just don't want to get a young goalie's confidence shaken like that. So I could see if like one, because he's already had a shaky one. So if he has one more, then like he might just want to like reset his mind, and whether that is bringing up the name that you just said that I can't pronounce, or they bring up Matt Murray. But I feel like you don't want to let a young goalie suffer. So I wouldn't be shocked if you did see Matt Murray.
I probably just mispronounced that name. Like Aktiamov or something like that.
Aktiamov?
I think so it actually is.
Yeah, no idea.
RTM Aktiamov.
Yeah.
But I call him Akitamov. That's what it looks like. Phonetics, people. Phonetics. So, How do you feel about Timmins being chosen over Myers? What impact do you think that his back-to-back penalties had on his ability to get into the lineup in the next game as well for Timmins?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Timmins is he made a couple nice plays too tonight. But yeah, that's really tough. Within 6 minutes, you're in the box twice is brutal. Especially when you're at that point in the game, like you're trying to build momentum, and you can almost throw away a game with two penalties like that. So yeah, I mean it's tough. I thought the more interesting thing, not to just switch topics on you, but is to see like Riley playing with Timmins a lot tonight. And like you can tell that Berube's not happy with the defense. And I think the only thing that he likes is McCabe and Tanev, but there's a little bit of sacrifice that you got to make with that, and he's not happy to make it. So, you see the twos line again tonight with Benoit and McCabe. They're out there a lot in the third period, and then you get OEL and Tanev. But then, you're left with Timmins and Riley. And you do see that like he threw out Timmins with Tanev once to get Timmins some minutes, and he throws out Riley once with OEL to give him some minutes. But I don't like this is our number one defenseman it's supposed to be, and he just keeps. I know he's not the style of Berube, but he just keeps bumping him down the lineup. It seems to me.
Well, he's our number one, but I don't think he'd be a number one on a lot of top 8 teams fighting for the Stanley Cup.
Do you think
So, I don't know.
if you reset and like you had better defensemen on this team when we had to re-sign them, like I'm not like would he have gotten the same amount of money that he did?
No,
it just
he's been so relied on, and he had a couple of really good seasons in that time on when he was heavily relied on.
heavily.
And you know what? Even though he was like, he has some defensive flaws, like he is a good defenseman, and he's been put through a lot of hard minutes against a lot of hard players, right? Like there's videos of Connor McDavid. There's videos of Connor McDavid undressing Morgan Riley. There's not very many videos of Connor McDavid undressing a guy like Connor Timmins.
Yeah,
because they're not on the ice at the same time.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's like he's got to play against these really hard guys. So, but yeah, no, if we had good defensemen on the team when it came time, he makes a lot less, I think, because
like if
he wouldn't have been relied on.
Like McCabe is
guy. I was thinking more like I was thinking you meant like a true number one. Like,
no, I just mean in general.
True number one.
Like when you have other guys playing around him that aren't considered like a top echelon defenseman, but like as Leaf fans, we consider them higher in the depth charts. And so I just think that not necessarily replacing him, but if there was other guys where you like compare him 1-to-1 on this team, then it might have been different. Yeah, nothing against Riley.
Understandably but like I don't hate 7.5. I don't hate 7.5.
No, it's not awful for sure. It's a decent contract, but not for a guy in the third line though, or third pair. And I think that's where the issue is just the finding the right spot for him, and And like he's always going to be the number one guy on this team to be on first power play. And yeah, I think he's very important to this team. I'm not saying he's not, and I don't want him on this team. No way. Like I love Riley, but yeah, it's just like he seems to be not finding the right role here. And I think it all started with putting him with OEL, and it just that kind of I think was a recipe for a disaster. Like yes, the top pair is really nice, but those two guys, like I just don't think that for the minutes they have to eat, they don't match up stylistically for me. And I think that's why we're seeing the movement.
Understandably so. So, we got to talk about that third line, man. We have, what do we got here? How did I write it? The third line's performance. Each player scored in the second period. So with that, and back-to-back games with Nick Robertson, and the way that they've clicked, and this team isn't a nobody team. This team is a good Dallas Stars team. Like they're not nobody. You can take this one home. Do you think the current line should remain as they are with this new third line? And we can get into the other two next, but start me with the third line. What did you think of those guys tonight?
Yeah, I mean, like I think if something's working this well, you should probably stick with it. If you go a game or two and nothing happens, then obviously you can switch it up. But like, what is the reason for moving it around? Especially there's no one really that is like coming off of injury, right? That is gonna mix up this lineup. Like Yarncroke's not coming back anytime soon. So am I forgetting about someone? But
do you think the Leafs should still look for a 3C in the trade?
Oh yeah. Like I think that in this, I don't think like this run of like 7 games here, I don't feel is super sustainable. Like I'm not sure that line is either. The nice thing is it's not like now that we've found something there that's kind of worked, you can run it out for the next 10 games or something if it's really clicking, and if you really feel like you like don't want to like go away from it, then yeah, maybe you can divert those whatever you're gonna spend into like a better defenseman. But I don't think it's the solution long term. Like I want a guy on like playing third line center that's more responsible defensively. Because like even as much as I like was praising how well Robertson was playing, like him and Domi together, like in their own zone, there's just gonna be some disaster moments. There was a couple tonight. Robertson sometimes just spins in one spot and the puck gets passed around him. It's a hard look sometimes with those two, and I'm not super sold that that's gonna be, even if it is playing like that. I guess if they're getting 5 goals in 4 periods all the time, then like that's different, but that's not gonna last. And I just want something that's more, like that you could send out there against any line out there, I guess is what I'm thinking, versus protecting this group.
So then where does Max Domi fit in on this team?
Yeah, I know. I guess like I think we have to now talk about the other lines, because like I hate the first line. Like I know that like they scored tonight, but like I just friggin' hate it.
Give them time.
Oh man. It just bothers me
Give
sometimes
them time.
that like
It's
even
gonna be
Willie.
great.
You think so?
I think so.
It bugs me. And also I just think that like Tavares is like doing a fine job, I guess, in the last 2 games, but I don't know. I feel like it's not what I would want, but I guess like you said, we've only seen 2 games of it, so let it work. But like tonight, like I was about to tear them apart, and I like was kind of in the chat, and then they scored. It's just one of those weird things where like for a whole period you're awful, but then like they can score at any moment, even if it's in their own zone. But yeah, I don't know.
I know I would like to see more of the super line domination, but like I said, give it time. Give it time. Let them. They aren't really used to playing with each other when they don't have time and space. So they're being tasked to do something that they're not used to, playing with that much skill with each other, and they don't have a dog. And I think every single one of them is used to kind of having a dog with them. And so they've got to figure out who's going to be able to play those roles. it's because, and I think all of them kind of have to buy into that. And if they can, turn into something like, one of Boston's top line, the Avalanche top line when Landeskog was in, those absolute like super top lines in the league, like I wouldn't want to take away the chance for that because that's the three best players on the team, the three best forwards. Like absolutely put them on the top line together. It just makes sense. It just sucks that Willie's right-handed and playing in the left slot when we only have three
Yeah.
right-handed players,
And you
including
got
Ryan
a
Reeves,
second line with all lefties.
and the third line with all lefties.
Oh, really? Are they all two? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Jeez.
Ryan Reeves is the only other lefty on the team.
Wow. Yeah. You're righty, you mean?
Or, yeah, righty. Sorry, he's the only other righty
Yeah.
on the team. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd love that Nylander to be left-handed, and then we'd all just like want it to happen. But like, you need to give it runway. You have to let them click. You have to let them cook. Let it cook, CP. That's my opinion.
The thing is, like, I always think, like, remember back in the day with NHL when, like, everyone had their identity. Maybe this is still how NHL works, but when you put them on the right, like, roles on the line and it lit up, like, green or whatever, and it was perfect, And I think, like, if you look at all of those lines in real life that you're talking about, they kind of do that for me, where, like, the Boston one has Marchand on it when it was, when he was at the top of his game. Colorado had Landeskog, even like if you load up on Edmonton, like Hyman's up there with, Draisaitl and McDavid. So like, I feel like what is that, Willie? Like, that's not Willie. That's not Marner. Like, you just don't have those identities. So, I mean, I'm happily will be proven wrong on this if they just go and style it up on everybody, but especially on a dump and chase team, like, they're supposed, like, I think the best way for it to be successful is if they break all the rules that the coach has set for them. Go out there and play last year's style of hockey, and it might be more successful to me than, like, wait, you gonna cross the red line and dump it in? Like, who's gonna go get the puck?
Coach specifically said, "Don't be too fancy."
Right. So like don't be good. Like, I don't know. Like, that's literally how they play. And so like if there's no one to go get them the puck, like that's what I'm worried about. It's like there's gonna be a lot of letting up in corners. And I'm a guy too that I don't mind Willie doing that. Like I like when he gets torn apart online for not finishing a check, like I don't really care because he has a different style and he gets a lot of turnovers by playing that way, but someone's gotta do it,
Yeah. Okay, so that's the top line. And then what about the second line with JT, Patches, and Nyes? How do you feel about that group?
I don't mind them. It doesn't, like, I don't know. That kind of feels like the best third line in the league. But as a second line, it seems like I don't know. We're asking a lot of Patches and JT, I think.
Yeah, so I think if they're gonna do, like, I'd like them to get a center, but I think that center should also be like a two right wing as well. But I'd like them to be right-handed, and then when Patches inevitably gets hurt, or if he doesn't, we have Patches. But if he does, then you can just slot in a right-handed, good defensive player with Tavares, and I think that would be all right. Tavares, McMahon, and somebody who you can trust reliably, who can also chip in. I don't think we're just looking for like another Calle Yarncroke defensive third line. Like if Calle Yarncroke was a natural center, that's not what we want, right? We want somebody who's got a little bit more upside.
Yeah,
correct?
I guess I would be more concerned about having a guy that is just you're on the third line and that's your role, and like. If something like that happens, I think that's where like Max Domi comes in handy, where he can move up. But I think I would rather have someone where like your actual role is like a shutdown centerman who has a little bit of offensive upside. But yeah, I guess it's like we can't like nitpick
Who do you think
too
this
much
guy
because
is?
there's only so many guys available. So like I feel like Yanni Gord does fit both of what we're saying. Same with Granlund. Like Granlund's a guy that I think is going to be available. He kind of fits both those roles. I mean, Brock Nelson fits my role. I'm not sure if he fits your role. Yeah, like those kind of names, I'd be happy with any of those guys. Like when you get farther down that list, like, then, like I'm not sure what wingers are available that would make me change my mind and think that's the way to go. But
I just can't agree with that because I like the third Like, we need depth scoring. This team needs depth scoring. If anything, John Tavares just needs to be the greatest defensive person that he can be. Like, we need another defensive person with him, and that needs to be a shutdown line and have that depth scoring, because JT can pot a few. Nyezy's going to chip in, and Pacioretty, like, put them out, like, or whoever else you decide to get there as your shutdown guys. And like, I think that would make more sense, because what the team screams for every single April and May is depth scoring. They aren't scoring enough goals. Even in this regular season, they aren't scoring enough goals. You need Nick Robertson to score. You need Max Domi to score. And if those guys are going to continue to play on the third line and click, like, hopefully they work out. But if not, you can see what this team needs, the formula of what this team needs. They need a third line that can go out there and score goals when the top guys are being equalized.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like, playoff time, we're always just screaming for goals, but I do think, like, at least two of the three guys we just mentioned fit that role. Like, I do think Yanni Gourde can provide scoring, so can Granlund.
Oh,
yeah. Can Brock Nelson? Like, I'm not sure, but he provides something.
I don't know what's going on over in Seattle. They just sold today Will Borgen, and then didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they just flipped somebody else as well.
But did they sell? Like, I feel like they kind of bought. Like, I don't know. They gave up two draft picks. So, I don't know.
Gave
like,
up 2 draft picks and got a Kako. So, like, what are they doing over there?
Yeah, like, I don't know. They are buying, but Kako is kind of a guy that is, like, he's still young and trying to still find himself. Like, I don't know. He kind of found a role last year on the young line with Lafreniere and Hurdle, but I just think that he hasn't been what he was supposed to be. So I don't know. Maybe they're just kind of taking a swing. Like, I think Borgen, how do you say his name?
Yeah,
Whatever.
Borgen.
He's kind of is what he is. He's a average defenseman. And I
right-handed, big hits,
right-handed,
lots
and big,
of hits, great fantasy pickup.
Yeah, so I think that there's a higher upside with Kako, and that's what they're going for. But I don't think that means that they're not willing to part with guys on the end of contracts.
And that's what I wonder. Okay, so Ryan Reeves skated in his 900th game. How do you feel about how often you're seeing Ryan Reeves in the lineup this season?
There was a really depressing moment with Ryan Reeves where he just got flat out stood up. He went in for a hit.
Was it Brendan Smith?
Yeah, flat on his butt. So
he's a big boy though. Brendan Smith's a big guy.
Yeah, but Ryan, that can't happen. You can't be Ryan Reeves and be sat on your butt. I
know when you have nothing else to bring to this team.
Yeah, he made actually a good play tonight. He poked the puck away from someone. Yeah.
Oh wow, he poked the puck away. Yeah. That was his contribution on the night.
Yeah. It's really
amazing.
Good,
we pay him $1.3 million.
Yeah, but
to
that
poke
guy,
the puck away.
He didn't have the puck
and changed
after
the music.
Ryan Reeves got there. Yeah. He also he set the music at the beginning of the game. He poked the puck away.
Music. That costs
he didn't
money.
go
DJs
get the
aren't
puck,
cheap.
but yeah. yeah.
Jeez.
I
Especially
can't find
celebrity
one in town
DJs
for that much. Yeah, 1.3 million. Jeez, that's a deal.
Yes. Especially celebrity DJs. Like, he was an NHL player, so
yeah, he was.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of done with the Ryan Reeves thing. I don't want to see him in. I would have rather seen Holmberg or Dewar, and I think Dewar's played so well in his limited minutes over the last few games that you have to give him a shot. Like, you have to continue to let that guy cook. He's noticeable, and he only plays 8 minutes a game, but we're always talking about him and we always see him. So it's like, how do you put in Ryan Reeves over Connor Dewar or even Holmberg, who they had on like the top line at one point this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the hockey goes, both those guys are a way better choice. The only thing I'll say is, like, certain players bring identity to a line. And I think, like, Ryan Reeves is one of those guys. Like, Max Pacioretty, he's one of those guys. Is like, regardless of how, like, the line is doing before, like, when you insert that guy, it's going to play, like, the line becomes like what they are. And I think, like, Lawrence is someone who definitely plays way bigger when Ryan Reeves is out there. And so like I do like more what I get from Lawrence when he's around. So, if you got the same thing out of him than when Dewar's out there, and I think if that can become some sort of an identity line, that's great. But it just somehow that doesn't feel like that line is anything. And if it can find a way to be something, like maybe it's just speed and energy, then fine. But I don't know.
Speed with Ryan Reeves?
No. If you put Dewar and Holmberg in, if like that's what that can become.
That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And you know what? Do that. I'd rather do that. Like Scott Livingston here. Thanks, Scott, for joining us for the show again. He says, is Revo gonna fight this season? Just wondering where the money's going to. We're wondering too. When was the last time Ryan Reeves even got into a fight? Can you even remember? It's been so long.
Preseason.
Has he not fought anybody all season long?
No, I'm pretty sure he hasn't. I think
that can't be right.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I might be wrong, but
like that's just sad. What is it? Yeah. What exactly do you do here? Like Ryan Reeves, I think we've all had enough of Ryan Reeves at this point. I'd like to see next game the switch there. I'd like to see the Myers for Timmins switch. I'd like to see the Dewar or Holmberg for Reeves switch. What did you think about Dewar. David Kampf and his first came back?
I mean, nothing special. I mean, nothing is ever special with David Kampf, but got beat pretty bad on a couple plays, but also just also getting his feet back. I think he's a fine player, but I do think that Dewar does exactly what he does, and just as well and for cheaper. So I think to find cap space, Kampf is a guy that I think is replaceable now. Yeah, like you said, you were really happy with Dewar, and that's where he was playing. So I don't know. I think that Dewar's grown on me a little bit, and I think just getting the longer leash in the position he's supposed to play, because don't forget, we've seen Dewar mostly playing a wing position when truly he is a centerman. And so some guys can make that switch to the wing easily, but some guys are that's what they're supposed to be as a centerman. Like David Kampf. You can't put David Kampf on the wing. It's not the right spot for him. So, I think he was fine, but I'm just not sure exactly what he provides to this team that's not replaceable.
Yeah, 2.5. I could see him being a cap casualty at the trade deadline, honestly. And, like you said, he doesn't. Reeves has his vibes that he brings, and he's only 1.3, but David Kampf on the other side at 2.5. Certainly has kind of shown that he's replaceable. He used to be a big staple on the PK, and the PK's been pretty solid this year. So I don't really know what you need him for, except for just kind of having the luxury of a centerman to win a draw that's natural center, because there's not very much center depth on this team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I just think there's things about Dewar that I like more than Kampf too. Like you said, water bug. He might be small, but he plays way bigger than Kampf plays. Good on the PK. The face-off draws are something that Kampf is way better at, but, throw Tavares out there, whatever. Whoever we trade for that we're making room and we have to get rid of Kampf for, that guy is now our new great face-off guy. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have anything else you want to go on about this show, or should we wrap this puppy up?
No, yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah.
We've covered it all. All right, we've covered it all, folks. We went over the Leafs beating the Dallas Stars 5-3. Thanks for tuning in to Split the Defense, Leafs post game presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving the Kingston and surrounding area since 2004. Leave us a comment, hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube, and you can listen to us in podcast form. Not right now, we haven't been getting episodes up lately, but we will fix that, and we will not be back. This is news to you boys too. We're not going to be back on Friday. I have a Christmas party, but we will be back on Saturday, and we'll be back for the Islanders game against the Leafs. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Follow the boys on Twitter at STDPWebby, at Craig D. Pearce, and at Ted_is_show.